This video is sponsored by My Will to Live. Hey everybody, this is Rainbow Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie on Disney Plus called The Black Hole. So this movie came out in 1979, and the story follows a crew going into space and investigating a black hole. But it's much more than that, in a way. So I'm just going to recap the story real quick. So the story of the black hole is a space crew detects an old ship orbiting a black hole. They investigate and find one crew member still on board, controlling robots, with a plan to safely pass through the black hole using an anti-gravity technology that he invented. The crew needs to repair their ship, but they soon realize that the last crew member is crazy and killed everyone on the ship and put them into the robot suits. So all these robots walking around are actually dead humans. The crew tries to escape the black hole, but it falls in anyway. They fall in anyway. And this leads to an ending that is akin to 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I gotta say, it's not really like 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's what, like, I looked at a website before I did this movie review to describe the movie, and they said it was like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I don't think so. That movie is way better and more mysterious than this one. So I'm just gonna jump right into my 5 points like I did last time. So this story. So this story, I mean, the movie is like an hour and a half long at least, maybe even approaching 2 hours, something, somewhere in there. And the movie feels very short. It almost feels like an 11-minute episode. Like everything is really drawn out, and it's like a really weird pacing, and it's kind of hard to get invested in it. For the first 20 minutes or so, you really just have to get through it and sludge through it all, but towards the end it gets way more interesting and easier to watch. But the story itself is kind of generic. I mean, spaceship goes to a black hole. They find another spaceship. They find a crew member that's been there for 20 years. Blah blah blah. He turns out to be evil. It's happened before. So the second point, visuals. The visuals were actually pretty good for a movie like in the 1979, so late 70s, early 80s. Not as good as like Star Wars. Star Wars is like way more creative, because I forgot to mention that 1979, this movie came out after the awakening of Star Wars, the Star Wars saga. So Disney wanted to create their own kind of Star Wars, and this was their attempt at that. Um, the visuals are actually kind of interesting because they make me nostalgic for rides at Disney World like Space Mountain and Spaceship Earth. It's they're pretty cool, especially when you get to like the bigger ship, the one that's orbiting the black hole and has the crazy crew member. So yeah, visuals definitely probably the best part of the movie. Now I'm not going to talk about the music just yet. Right now I want to describe the characters. This is definitely the weirdest part of the movie to me, or at least one of the weirdest, because this movie is very strange. So you're introduced to these characters. I didn't bother to learn their names. I only know one of the characters' names, and it's the little robot sidekick, but we'll get to him in a minute. So the main characters are like one or two guys, I think. I don't remember their names, obviously. And then there's a girl, because, just a girl. Don't remember her name. She doesn't really have any like outstanding personality traits, I guess. That's a common theme with a lot of these characters. They don't have personality traits. They're all just there. But then you have these guys, this girl, this robot companion, and then a guy, I think his name was Harry. He just looks like your cool uncle, like you see at Thanksgiving. And that sounds weird. Like, why would you be in like a Star Wars movie? Like a Star Wars-esque movie, I guess what I'm trying to say. He, like, the way he dresses, everyone else is in like some kind of spacesuit or something that looks kind of spacish. He's just like in a sweater and pants. Like, it's really strange, and his character just really detaches from the movie. And of course he ends up kind of like being evil, or not really evil, but stupid, I guess, in the end. So the characters are really weird, but The only character's name I remember other than the weird Uncle Harry is Vincent the robot. I actually really like his design. It's more cute. I mean, he's kind of like the R2D2 of this movie, but he actually talks. So I guess in a way he's a fusion of R2D2 and C3PO. But he's like actually it's cool because every main character's acting in this movie is so bad. It is atrocious. That's why it's so hard to make it through like the first 20 minutes. But the thing that gets me is the robot character Vincent is the most human character, and he's the robot sidekick. Like that just goes to show how bad your guys' acting is. I'm sorry. It's so hilarious. I might put in some clips here of like people, some of the characters acting.
No sense leaving the story of a lifetime untold, Captain.
I believe there is, Harry. And it's looking straight at us. Picking up anything on the sensors, Charlie?
Negative.
Okay, but anyway, I'll move on now to my third point, the music. The theme song is very, very repetitive. Like like when you first start up this movie, it actually does copy 2001: A Space Odyssey right off the bat with just having like 5 minutes of music, and that was cool. That got me excited. Like, okay, so this is probably gonna be like a really cool space adventure, giving some theories and philosophy on the evolution of man. I love that 2001: A Space Odyssey stuff, but no, this theme song just plays like the same three notes and then plays that for like 5 minutes. It's really repetitive and dumb. But other than the theme song, which only plays like twice during the movie, I believe, the rest of it is just generic sci-fi music. I can't remember anything else about the music. That's how generic it is, but whatever. So my fourth point, comedy and writing. This goes into how bad the acting is. The writing is super generic, generic stuff like, "Oh no, I can't believe this happened," blah 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 blah. Like there's nothing creative about it really. The comedy, there isn't a lot of comedy. Most of the comedy, I guess, would probably come through Vincent, the robot, but there's not like jokes. It's just there's no comedy. It's not in here. Yeah, so that was comedy and writing. It's pretty bad. Fifth point, originality. This movie is not very original. I already mentioned that it came out right after the whole Star Wars explosion of the late 70s, early 80s. So it was really just Disney was just trying to have their own Star Wars before they bought Lucasfilm. So they could have done more with it. Like, it's a story about a black hole, and they don't tap into a lot of the science of a black hole. They sort of start to with the crazy character on the old ship saying that he's allowed himself to pass through the black hole using anti-gravity technology, which is actually, like, that makes sense. If you look at the science part of black holes, you would need some sort of anti-gravity device to pass through, but I digress, whatever. Other than that, the movie doesn't really tap into the science, and I think that's a huge missed opportunity. So overall, for originality, no, not very original, honestly. So, yeah, my final thoughts on The Black Hole, not a very good movie. I mean, the robot character Vincent is definitely the best part of the movie, and, he's in it for the entire movie, and he talks probably the most out of any of the characters, so that was at least a good call. He is the best character. The acting, that's the most strange thing about this movie is the acting. It is very, very bad. The music, repetitive. The visuals is the best thing about this movie other than Vincent. The visuals are pretty good, and they make me nostalgic for those old Disney World rides. But yeah, as far as like a rating goes, let's see. I gave Aladdin 2 like a 4. I'm gonna give this like a 3, maybe like a 2.5 or something. It's worse than Aladdin 2. At least Aladdin 2 kept my attention the entire time, and I watched that one twice. I would not be able to watch this movie twice. I'm good. That acting is just so bad. So yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, one more thing. Where do I put it in the tier list for the movies? All the movies that I'm gonna review. Well, I put Aladdin 2 in the D slot. This goes in E. It's what I would call salvageable. There are parts of this movie that are actually good, and if they were done better, they could be crafted into something like actually up to the level of Star Wars. But this movie falls. It does not reach that point. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie The Black Hole. It's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out, but I would skip like the first 20 minutes. It get the same experience, and those are the okay parts of the movie after the first 20 minutes. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and comment what you want me to review next, because I'm pretty open to any suggestions. So, yeah, thanks for watching.